Chamwada report is now 1 year old. We've done it, 52 episodes non-stop, and you've been part of this journey that has taken development journalism in Kenya to another level. Content that influences policy making, content that transforms lives, award-winning content that goes beyond the borders.
It's a very informative program.
It's an eye-opener.
The Chamwada report has demonstrated that there's actually good local content that can be sourced from independent producers out there.
Now, the Chamwada report went on air on the 16th of 2015 when preparations to host US President Barack Obama were high on Kenya's agenda. There was anxiety among Kenyans regarding that high-profile visit. Let us have a look at that inaugural show. In this episode, the significance of President Barack Obama's visit to Kenya. He is expected in Nairobi later this month. What does that visit mean to you?
Alikuwa nasubiri nini ndo akuje saa hii. Nini ameona nini cha muhimu ameona ndo atuletee wakati huu ambacho hakuwa analeta the other years that he was when he was in leadership.
Sasa nikukuja kama Mkenya, si ati uchumi itamarika nini, hapana. Si tuko na rais wetu. Na nisiwezi enda kumuona kwa sababu mimi niko na kazi, hata niko na customer wenye wanahitaji siku hiyo.
Atasaidia rais wetu na maarifa ya mambo ya kutengeneza security hapa Kenya. Atufungulie manjia za kupata mavisa na green cards ili tupate kwenda huko ng'ambo.
It is in Nigeria where we produced our first show outside the country. We met a Kenyan priest in Lagos City. His name is Father Emmanuel Sikuku Likoko. He heads a parish in one of the biggest slums in Lagos City. And through his eyes, we were able to make comparisons between Nairobi and Lagos as far as life in slums is concerned.
A slum anywhere is an abandoned area because a responsible government cannot encourage the growth of a slum. And the little we are doing here, like getting the people out of the slums and setting them up somewhere else, trying to decongest the slums. I think the pastors in Kenya should do the same. We should not just be whining that, oh, the government is not doing anything and all that. But the slums are getting full of the people. We want our churches to be full of these same people, but I would prefer to have an empty church without an empty slum than to have a full church with a slum full of people with problems.
You are watching the Chamwada Report at 1, and in this episode, we are reflecting on our 1 year journey. Remember, this show is about you and with you. Time now to sample your views about the show.
The Chamwada report goes out of the way to gather information which if we were to look for, we could not have even gotten. So they summarize and give you a lot of information that is very helpful to you in terms of business, in terms of agriculture, in terms of the future, and in terms of the connectivity between social and economical activities.
Na tunaifurahia sana juu inatuangazia na inatueleza sisi wananchi kuhusu ripoti, tunapata ufanuzi.
I think it's an eye-opener to us as Kenyans, as young people. Yeah.
We turn small stories into big stories. There was a story about the sweet potato, the so-called poor man's food, but it finds its way on dining tables in the UK. How are Kenyans exporting the sweet potato to the UK?
When you are harvesting, you harvest with the very minimal disturbance of the sweet potatoes. There should be no mechanical damage. Also carrying the sweet potatoes to where you are washing them should be done on crates. You can see the crates in it that we normally use. From there, we go to the pack house. They are washed. After washing, they are sun-dried and then packed in special boxes that are for export.
The farmers are doing sustainable production. They have enough for themselves to eat before they sell it off to the international world. but also they're not using chemicals, so they're using environmental friendly, agricultural practices. They're having to do additional work like building toilets to meet health and safety, so that it's all a healthy environment for growing the product. So it's a fair price to pay for the amount of work that they're doing already.
Back home, the sweet potato flour is now being used to make products like bread.
As much as we are encouraging these farmers to grow for the UK market, remember grading will be done. And we say for farmers not to lose the ones which are rejects because they has not met the standard of the size, maybe it is oversized, but we can use it, we can mill it, we can use it to bake bread, because we want to value add so that the farmer doesn't get a loss. We make sure that the county has bought all the sweet potatoes from the farmer. Not when they reach the grading area, they are told to take it home, but we will be taking so that we add value in it.
When Nairobi City was choking under garbage in December 2015, we went beyond ordinary talk. We went beyond political arguments. We went deeper into issues and the way forward. We sought expert analysis on how solid waste can be managed and how the waste can even be turned into wealth. And we drew lessons from Norway. That remains one of our most memorable shows in this program.
Our heat distribution, which also burns our waste, are also producing biogas. So we have a new factory outside the city here where we produce biogas, and then this biogas is used on our buses in this region.
We have let the politics of development overtake issues of planning. The laws are there, we have the regulations in NEMA, we have the regulations now in the county government. It's an issue of political will to implement.
We now want the waste management to be independent and sustain itself, and of course to evaluate whether the waste management system can sustain itself economically. What we are going to do is to prescribe for the right containers for the residents and then give guidance to where they can procure them from. That is what we are going to do, so that the residents also have a responsibility of waste management. My waste is my responsibility. If you don't take your responsibility for your waste, for sure we found that the county government can no longer bear this burden, or full burden of waste management. The county government is going to embark really on the final disposal, which is a major infrastructural investment that probably will take about 13 billion Kenya shillings to ensure that we put proper final disposal site for final waste disposal. But the elements of waste containment at the point of your generation, that is an indoor activity. The element of collection and transportation, for sure that is your extended responsibility as a resident or as a generator of waste in the city.
Remember, this is journalism practiced independently outside the newsroom. We at Chams Media, where the content is created, are dedicated to giving you fresh content every week, thanks to a passionate team that includes researchers, cameramen, video editors, and a graphics designer, just to name a few.
Editing the Chamwada report for the past 1 year has been an amazing experience for me. I have learned a lot basing on the fact that we have tackled various sectors in this nation, issues on roads, issues on health, environment, just to mention a few, and I have learned enormous things through this whole experience.
On to the broadcaster now, and the KTN News editorial, production, presentation, and technical teams have been very supportive of this program.
We are dealing with a situation where there are too many stories going on and people don't have the benefit of getting the context of the content that they get. So I think the Chamwada report plays in that space that fits very well with the overall vision of KTN News, which is not just to give people stories as a break, but also when there is a pause to make sure that people actually understand the stories.
But it is never all that smooth. There are so many things that happen behind the scenes that never make it to the final cut. day. What we go through to get stories. So leave room here. Mi niko kwa corner. Yeah. Decongesting the city. Utazipata tu. Endelee. Ingekuwa hata kwa short. Umefanya hivi you can confuse. Oh, that's not so. Okay. Okay, I'm going. We now take a short break. Now, in this, so role of the donor community as well as the role of citizens. The role of citizens. But first, here is the fact sheet. More on that in the second segment of this program.